There comes a moment when every ambitious soul wakes up and realizes it's no longer enough to survive. Survival is for the uncertain, for the indifferent, for the passive. But you were never built to coast. You were never designed to drift through days with a muted heart and an uninspired mind. No. You are a leader not by title, but by temperament. Not by role, but by responsibility. And if you're awake enough to hear these words, you know. You feel it deep in your bones, the call to rise, to sharpen, to lead not just others, but first, yourself. Because all leadership begins within. No crown, no position, no applause will ever compensate for a person who cannot command their own mind, their own days, their own destiny. You don't get to lead anyone else until you can lead your own energy out of mediocrity. And that is where the first transformation begins. Plan 1. Master your internal world or become a slave to your external one. The battlefield of the ambitious is not the market, the economy, or the competition. It is the space between their ears. The most dangerous war is the quiet one. You wage against your own limitations, your own excuses, your own doubt that whispers, maybe I'm not ready. But a true leader doesn't wait to feel ready. They decide to be ready. They command their thoughts like a general commands an army. Every day, before the world even sees you, you must win in the dark. Win when the alarm goes off. Win when your body says no and your purpose says go. Win when your mind starts negotiating with weakness and you answer back with clarity, discipline, and authority. You were never meant to follow the mood of the day. You were meant to set it. Which brings us to the next plan. Lead with clarity or be led by chaos. An unclear leader is a dangerous one. Not because they're evil, but because they drift. And when leaders drift, people drown. Businesses stall. Families suffer. Futures are delayed. Clarity is the compass. And too many ambitious people are busy without direction, building without vision, exhausting themselves for goals they never defined. You don't get points for movement. You get results for alignment. So stop. Ask yourself, what am I building? Why does it matter? Who must I become to deserve it? Write it, speak it, burn it into your mind. Because once clarity exists, everything else begins to arrange itself around it. Decisions become obvious. Distractions lose their power. And your life stops feeling like noise and starts feeling like a mission. Now, with mission in place, it's time to activate Plan 3. Upgrade your standards or get buried under your circumstances. Too many leaders suffer in silence because they try to fix results without fixing the root, and the root is always standards. You get what you tolerate. In health, in business, in relationships, in your own habits. The truth? You don't rise to your potential, you fall to your standards. And if your standards are built on emotion, on convenience, on the comfort of fitting in, you will fail silently and call it balance. You don't need balance. You need alignment. You need conviction. You need a standard so high that it repels everything that doesn't belong in the life you're building. Raise the standard. Raise it so high it offends the part of you that still wants to play small. Raise it until it scares you, because that's when it's finally aligned with your calling. Then enforce it. Not once, not when it's easy, but daily, until it becomes identity. And once your identity is anchored in power, it's time to activate the 4th plan. Take complete ownership of everything, every win, every loss, every inch of progress. The moment you assign blame is the moment you hand away your influence. Leaders don't play the victim. They don't wait for rescue. They don't outsource responsibility. They look in the mirror and say, if it's to be, it's up to me. You don't control everything, but you control your response to everything. You control how you lead when the storm hits. You control how you speak when emotions rise. You control whether you panic or plan. Blame builds nothing. Ownership builds empires. So stop pointing fingers. Start building foundations. And once that foundation is laid, activate Plan 5. Design your environment for war, not comfort. Because your environment is not neutral. It is either pulling you forward or dragging you down. Every leader has blind spots, traps, saboteurs disguised as friends, excuses hiding in routines. And if your environment is not engineered to align with your future, it will keep pulling you back to your past. Clean the room. Change the music. Cut the noise. Block the apps. Fire the energy drainers. Surround yourself with forces that sharpen you, not soothe you into sleep. A lion doesn't grow strong in a petting zoo. It needs the wild, the pressure, the hunt. You are not here to be coddled. You are here to conquer. Now you're ready for Plan 6. Move with urgency. Live like your legacy depends on the next decision, because it does. The clock is not your friend. It is your rival. And every second you waste pretending you have time is a second you will beg for when the clock runs out. Leaders don't wait. They initiate. They understand that someday is code for never. They don't need permission. They need a reason. And if your reason is big enough, the resistance will never be strong enough to stop you. Stop sitting on ideas. Stop waiting for signs. Move. Make the call. Start the draft. Launch the product. Send the message. Ask the question. Raise the standard. Cut the dead weight. You are not here to manage time. You are here to maximize it. So rise. Begin. Execute like your life depends on it, because it does. Because the distance between where you are and where you could be is not measured in miles, it's measured in moments. The moments you act versus the moments you delay. The moments you choose courage over comfort. And that brings you to Plan 7. Trade comfort for capacity. Every ambitious leader must come to terms with this truth. Comfort is the enemy of growth. The very thing you crave, ease, rest, safety, is the very thing that will kill your edge if you're not vigilant. Capacity, not comfort, is the currency of greatness. And the only way to expand it is to stretch. You stretch through early mornings. You stretch through hard conversations. You stretch by saying no when it's easier to say yes. You stretch by doing one more rep, writing one more line, pushing through one more obstacle, not because you feel like it, but because you're committed to becoming the kind of person who can carry what the future demands. Leadership is not about preserving what you have. It's about preparing for what you're building. And that kind of preparation demands Plan 8. Discipline your attention like your future depends on it, because it does. Focus is the superpower of the modern world. In a sea of distractions, the leader who can sit in stillness, lock in on a task, and execute without splintering their mind wins. Because attention is not just mental, it's spiritual. Where you place your focus is where you place your faith. You become what you consistently look at. So audit your inputs, clean your feed, turn off the noise, close the tabs. Protect your energy like royalty protects a throne, because what sits in your mental kingdom will determine the quality of your empire. And once your focus is sharpened, you activate Plan 9. Design your habits for your identity, not just your goals. Goals are great, but they are outcomes. Habits are identity, the system that keeps you consistent when motivation disappears, when the applause stops, when it's just you, the silence, and the standard you said you'd live by. You don't rise to what you say, you rise to what you repeat. And if your daily systems are built for average, no amount of ambition will save you from eventual mediocrity. So build routines that match the future you. Wake like they wake. Train like they train. Study like they study. Execute like they execute. Show up like your dream self already exists, and one day you'll look up and realize they do. And from identity flows, Plan 10. Play long, but move fast. Real leaders think in decades, not days. They're not chasing dopamine. They're building dynasties. But don't confuse long-term vision with slow movement. Just because your eyes are on the mountaintop doesn't mean your feet should drag. Move quickly on ideas. Pivot with agility. Execute at the speed of belief, because what you delay, you train your brain to distrust. Speed is not recklessness, it's readiness. It says, I'm not waiting for things to be perfect. I move because I know who I am. And when you move with speed and think with legacy, you step into the space of the elite, the ones who not only build, but outlast. Which leads directly to Plan 11. Fortify your resilience before the storm comes. The question isn't if adversity will hit, it's when. And when it does, the leader doesn't panic. They pivot because they've built their foundation on truth, not trends. On principles, not popularity. You build resilience by confronting small discomforts daily so that when the big ones come, you don't crumble. You've already rehearsed the resistance. You've already stared failure in the face and said, "You don't define me. You refine me." Tough times don't build character. They reveal it. And only the disciplined will stand when the winds rise. So you prepare now, not later. You prepare through mindset, through systems, through strong people in your corner who call out the champion in you when you forget it's there. And as resilience hardens your resolve, you ignite Plan 12. Surround yourself only with those who reflect your future, not your past. There is no neutral energy in your circle. Every conversation is either fueling your fire or feeding your fear. Every person is either echoing your purpose or diluting your identity. As a leader, you must protect your circle like a sacred chamber. There is no room for laziness, no space for entitlement, no tolerance for mediocrity masked as support. Because if they're not pushing you, challenging you, elevating you, they're dragging you. Surround yourself with assassins of excuses, architects of vision, builders of belief, people who remind you of who you said you'd be when the fire was fresh. Your circle is either your launch pad or your cage. Choose wisely. And now, with the right people in place, with your fire stoked, your habits locked, and your mindset sharp, you activate Plan 13. Speak like a leader, especially to yourself. Words create worlds. And no one hears your voice more than you. Every sentence you repeat is a command to your subconscious. So stop speaking in uncertainty. Stop hiding behind sarcasm and self-deprecation. That's not humility. It's self-sabotage. Speak power. Speak vision. Speak truth, even when it sounds arrogant to the small-minded. Speak with the authority of someone who has already decided to win. Your voice must become the soundtrack of your transformation. Every morning, every moment, every mirror. And as your voice rises, so too must your heart. Which brings us to Plan 14. Lead with gratitude, not just grind. Grind without gratitude turns to bitterness. Hustle without heart turns to emptiness. But when you root your pursuit in awe, in the sheer privilege of building, creating, serving, you access a deeper power. Gratitude doesn't make you soft. It makes you stronger because it centers you in perspective. It reminds you that you get to lead. You get to face pressure. You get to carry weight. Every obstacle is a gift in disguise. Every delay is a refinement. Every long night is proof you haven't quit. Be grateful not just for what you've gained, but for who you've become in the process. And now, with all the fuel, fire, and force aligned, you arrive at Plan 15. Lead yourself relentlessly so you can lead others effortlessly. Because when all is said and done, leadership is not about control. It's not about applause. It's not about followers. It's about becoming. You lead because you've chosen the harder path, the one where you own your flaws, sharpen your strengths, and carry the weight of vision when others collapse. And the more consistently you lead yourself, the less you need to motivate others. Your life becomes the sermon. Your actions become the message. Your standard becomes the invitation for others to rise. So rise. Become the kind of leader who leads from the inside out. Let your thoughts be intentional. Let your words be weapons of truth. Let your actions make legacy inevitable. Because the world does not need more noise. It needs you, fully alive, fully aligned, fully unleashed. This is how you change your life. This is how you lead. And when you lead like that, not from ego, not from image, but from essence, everything shifts. You don't chase influence, you become it. You don't force respect, you earn it. You don't need to be seen, because the impact of your presence becomes impossible to ignore. This is what ambitious leadership truly is. A quiet rebellion against mediocrity. A daily, deliberate defiance against everything that says, stay small. It is not something you do on stage or in a boardroom. It's what you do in the silence when no one is watching and no one is clapping. It's waking up earlier than your doubt. It's outworking your fear. It's sharpening your soul while others scroll. It's building what they can't see, so one day they stand in awe of what you refuse to quit on. Because ambition without structure is anxiety, and leadership without personal mastery is just noise. But you are not here to echo. You are here to initiate. So now you lead with legacy in mind. You stop reacting to life and start architecting it. You create space in your calendar for the things that matter. You build systems that protect your peace and multiply your purpose. You stop explaining yourself to people who haven't earned access to your vision. And you rise not just in results, but in resonance. Your presence begins to speak louder than your profile. Your consistency becomes your credibility. And your attitude becomes your authority. This is what the world will see. But the world will never know the sacrifices made in silence, the prices paid in private, the inner battles you won while smiling on the outside. But you'll know, and that's enough. Because real leaders don't need constant praise, they need constant purpose. You are building something far beyond what the eye can see. A legacy, a movement, a ripple that will echo for generations, not just because of what you achieved, but because of who you chose to become. So as you walk back into your day, head high, eyes sharp, energy focused, remember this. You are not waiting for a moment. You are the moment. You are not hoping for a shift. You are the shift. You are not just dreaming of a better future. You are becoming the kind of leader who will build it. And when they ask how you changed your life, you won't give them a list. You'll just smile and live it. Because nothing is louder than a life lived in full alignment. No speech, no strategy, no social media post can rival the quiet power of a human being who embodies what they speak, who owns what they believe, who executes what they once only imagined. That's who you are now. You don't just talk about greatness, you build it. Brick by brick, standard by standard, day by day. While others chase shortcuts, you chase mastery. While others seek comfort, you seek clarity. While others want recognition, you demand responsibility. Because you know deep in your bones that leadership is not about being in front. It's about being solid. It's about being the one who can't be moved when the storm hits, the money dips, the team falters, the world changes. It's about becoming the constant in a world of variables. A pillar of principle, a symbol of consistency, a force of nature that doesn't flinch when tested. That is your new identity, not built in one day, but reinforced, refined, and revealed through every decision made with intentionality. So every time you wake up, remember, you're not just waking to tasks. You're waking to testimony. You're not just building a life. You're building a legacy of example. You're not just a person doing the work. You are the proof that discipline wins, that purpose speaks louder than fear, that ambition aligned with integrity can move mountains. Because you were not sent here to replicate, you were sent to resonate. And when your life resonates with truth, with vision, with impact, the world shifts, not because you told it to, but because your presence made it undeniable. So walk boldly, speak clearly, act decisively, forgive quickly, love deeply, move fiercely, and never again ask the world for permission to lead. You already did that when you decided to change your life. And now you're unstoppable. Because the moment you became unstoppable wasn't when they saw you succeed, it was when you refused to surrender in silence. When you picked yourself up, bleeding and bruised, and whispered, "I'm not done." That is the fire they won't understand. That is the edge they cannot imitate. That is the reason you will rise while others stall, because your ambition is not shallow. It is rooted in depth, in pain transformed into power, in vision shaped by fire. You stopped needing applause the day you discovered your assignment. And now, you don't need hype to move. You need only your word. You said you would rise, and you are rising. You said you would lead, and you are leading. You said you would become the kind of person you once only dreamed of, and now you're staring at the blueprint, hammer in hand, building it brick by brick. Let the world call it extreme. Let them call it obsession. Let them call it too much. You call it necessary. Because when you look at your future, the one you are forging with sweat, vision, and sacrifice, you see something they don't. You see the family that will be fed, the people who will be freed, the chains that will be broken, the ceiling that will be shattered because you decided to go first. This is what leadership is. Not title, not status, not image. It is sacrifice in silence for impact in eternity. You carry that weight not because it's easy, but because you can. And now you do it not out of duty, but out of destiny. So this is your vow burned into your mind, sealed into your bones. No more half steps. No more waiting to be chosen. No more settling for maybe. No more apologizing for the fire inside. From here forward, everything you do reflects who you've become. Not a person in pursuit of greatness, but the living proof of it. So let your actions roar. Let your standards speak louder than your status. Let your discipline echo through generations. Because you are no longer just a person trying to succeed. You are a leader, reshaping the world through the way you live. And that changes everything. And if they ask where it started, this shift, this rise, this transformation they now see in your eyes, you won't point to a stage or a spotlight. You'll point to the silence, to the dark mornings, to the lonely decisions, to the exact moment you looked at the life you were living and said with absolute finality, no more. Because that's where real change begins, not in noise, not in performance, but in resolve. That unshakable moment when you stop hoping life gets easier and decide you'll get stronger. When you stop craving comfort and choose capacity. When you stop fearing judgment and step fully into conviction. This is your real wealth. Not the money, not the metrics, but the man or woman you've become in the furnace of intentional action. You don't need to scream it. You show it in your posture, in your peace, in the intensity behind your calm, in the discipline behind your joy, in the weight your name carries, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. You've now become the kind of person who doesn't need to prove they've changed because your presence proves it. And what's more, your life now becomes permission. Permission for others to rise. Permission for others to dream bigger. Permission for others to believe that greatness isn't inherited, it's engineered. You are the proof, the walking, breathing, unrelenting proof that with vision, with structure, with faith and fire and impenetrable standards, anything can be transformed. You didn't just change your life. You rewrote the rules. You didn't just climb the mountain. You built a new one and showed others how to ascend. And from here on out, no matter how high you go, how far you stretch, how deeply you influence, you will always return to the root truth that made this all possible. You led yourself first. And because of that, you will never be lost again. Because no matter what storms may come, what setbacks may surface, what doubts may whisper, you will stand firm because you know who you are. You are the storm. You are the shift. You are the kind of leader who walks into the fire and builds cathedrals inside it. This is not the end of your journey. This is the birth of the next level. So don't slow down. Don't settle. Don't forget the weight you carry, the fire you bear, the lives you were born to impact. Now, go, lead, live, and never look back. Not with applause, not with a bow, but with a vow, the kind that doesn't need to be spoken because it's already been written into the rhythm of how you breathe, how you move, how you show up from this moment forward. Because this wasn't just a script. It was a mirror. It was a match. It was a mandate. And now that it's been lit inside you, there's only one thing left to do. Lead your life like it's the only one bold enough to break the mold. Because it is. And you are. There's a currency more sacred than gold, more unforgiving than failure, more powerful than talent, education, or even connections. It's the currency that every legend protects and every average life squanders. It's not money. It's not luck. It's not opportunity. It's time. Time is the only resource you cannot borrow, beg, steal, rewind, or replace. You don't get to save it. You only get to spend it. And what you spend it on will become the story of your life. Every second, a seed. Every minute, a mirror. Every hour, a brick laid in the structure of your legacy. And the cruel truth, most people are bankrupt. Not financially, spiritually, emotionally, purposefully, because they've traded time for the illusion of productivity, for the comfort of distraction, for the noise that keeps them busy, but never better. They wake up without purpose, move through their day without urgency, scroll through their hours like time is infinite, but it's not. It's perishable. It's dying as fast as you're breathing. And every second you waste, someone else is using that same moment to build, to sharpen, to rise. This isn't fear. This is truth. Because when you understand the value of time, you don't just respect it. You revere it. You treat it like royalty. You protect it like gold. You use it like fire in your hands. Because what you do with your time reveals what you truly value. You say you want success, but how much time did you give your dream today? You say you want freedom, but how much time did you waste on people who aren't free themselves? You say you want legacy, but how many of your hours are being spent building anything that will outlive you? Time is the great equalizer. It humbles kings. It empowers the unseen. It doesn't care about your past. It doesn't listen to your excuses. It only answers to your discipline. So, ask yourself, what is your relationship with time? Do you lead it, or does it lead you? Do you command your calendar, or are you a servant to circumstance? Do you start your day with intention, or do you wake up already in defeat? Because here's the truth. You don't have a time problem. You have a purpose problem, a priority problem, a personal standard problem. When time becomes sacred, your life becomes focused. Your yes becomes valuable. Your no becomes powerful. You stop entertaining what doesn't build you. You stop delaying what your future is begging for. You stop wasting hours on things that drain your spirit. Because you realize the way you spend your time is the way you spend yourself. And you were not made to be average. You were made to amplify, to execute, to rise. When you truly understand the value of time, you stop living like you have forever. You stop postponing your greatness. You stop pushing your potential into a mythical someday that never comes and never will, unless you command it into existence today. Because here's the harsh truth. If you died tomorrow, would the hours you live today have meant anything? Would they prove you were becoming who you said you'd become? Would they testify that you used your time with honor? Or would they echo back with silence? The silence of wasted potential, of borrowed time, of dreams that never got built? You see, you can't manage time if you don't first respect it. And you can't respect time until you understand that it doesn't care who you are. It only serves the committed. Time is like a mirror. It doesn't reflect what you want. It reflects what you prioritize. It reflects who you are when no one's watching. And this is what separates the ones who rise from the ones who always talk about rising. The successful, the fulfilled, the legendary. They don't treat time casually. They don't wake up hoping the day goes well. They own it. They build it. They bend it to the rhythm of their vision. Because when your life is urgent with purpose, time becomes a weapon, not a weight. You use every minute to shape something that matters. You walk into each hour like it owes you legacy. You protect your schedule like it holds your freedom, because it does. You don't give hours to the past. You don't give hours to people who don't respect your future. You don't give hours to excuses that have outlived their usefulness. Instead, you carve out space for mastery. You calendar your discipline. You schedule your future like it's your duty. And that's when time begins to multiply for you. Because here's the paradox of time. When you honor it, when you fill it with focus and purpose and execution, you get more of it. Not in quantity, but in quality, in impact, in clarity, in results. One focused hour in the hands of a person on fire with purpose is more valuable than a full day of scattered distraction. This is the difference between the extraordinary and the exhausted. They're not working harder. They're just working cleaner, more aligned, more precise, more present. They've learned how to say no, like their life depends on it, because it does. Every no to distraction is a yes to elevation. Every no to nonsense is a yes to your name being written in history. So ask yourself, what are you giving your hours to? What is your time feeding? What is your time creating? Because time is not just passing, it's taking shape. And what it becomes is up to you. Then stand tall, because this is the moment where your life pivots. Not next week, not when it's convenient. Now, because if you've truly understood anything up to this point, then you know this isn't about clocks. This isn't about to-do lists or productivity hacks. This is about honor. Honor for your calling. Honor for your mind. Honor for your one and only life. You see, the value of time is not found in how fast you can check off tasks. It's found in how deeply you can live each moment, how present you are in the creation of your future, how willing you are to pay the price today so you never have to beg tomorrow. Time is your teacher, your mirror, your currency, and your test. And every day you wake up with breath in your lungs, you are being asked one question: what will you do with me? That question comes with no warning, no negotiation, and no refund. You don't get to pause the clock until life feels fair. You don't get to rewind it just because you weren't ready. You don't get to fast forward to the good parts. But you do get to decide what you build with it. You do get to control what goes on your schedule. You do get to lead your hours like a king leads an army. That means no more killing time, no more wasting time, no more casual afternoons that bleed into purposeless nights. Every minute matters, because every minute is a vote. A vote for the life you want, or a vote for the life you're tolerating. You say you want greatness? Prove it with how you spend your mornings. You say you want peace? Show it by what you no longer allow into your mental space. You say you want legacy? Then honor your hours like the generations after you depend on it. Because they do. You don't get rich by working harder. You get rich by valuing time more than money. You don't build success by adding more. You build it by cutting what doesn't matter. And you don't create freedom by avoiding the clock. You create it by leading it, owning it, becoming the kind of person who uses time with surgical precision. And here's the final truth, the one that either breaks you or builds you. Your time is running out. Every minute is gone. Every breath spent. Every excuse stealing the only thing you can never get back. So stop waiting for the perfect plan. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for life to slow down and finally give you time. It won't. You make time. You declare war on distraction. You execute with clarity. You live so intentionally that time itself begins to bend in your direction. Because that's what happens when your life is led with purpose. That's what happens when you decide right here, right now, that every day from this moment forward is a day you own, a day you build, a day you live fully aware that this moment is priceless and you're done letting it slip away. Let the world keep rushing. Let the clock keep ticking. Let others waste their hours in noise. But you move in clarity. You act with reverence. You rise with rhythm, and you lead your life like time is your most sacred resource, because it is. And now, you know exactly what to do with it. There's something you never get back, something more expensive than failure, more fatal than fear, more powerful than talent. It's time, the silent currency of your life. And every single second is being spent. The only question is, are you investing it or wasting it? Because whether you rise or remain, whether you build or break, whether you thrive or disappear quietly into the crowd, will be determined by how you manage time. And the truth is, time isn't the problem. You have enough time. 24 hours, the same as every legend who ever lived. The problem is attention. The problem is intention. The problem is what you're allowing to steal the most sacred currency you'll ever hold. You don't need more hours. You need more ownership. Because time is not something you spend when convenient. It's something you command. And if you don't learn to command your time, the world will consume it for you. Every scroll is a withdrawal. Every meaningless conversation is a withdrawal. Every hour spent chasing dopamine instead of destiny is a permanent theft from the life you could have built. And once it's gone, it's gone. No refunds, no do-overs, only regrets for those who never learned how to lead their life on purpose. So how do the great ones do it? How do the high performers, the unstoppable, the producers of massive impact, manage time without wasting it? They don't just fill a calendar. They own a rhythm. They build systems. They protect their focus like it's sacred, because it is. And it starts with a ruthless, unapologetic mindset shift. You stop asking, what do I have time for? You start asking, what must get done for me to live aligned with the future I'm creating? That question changes everything. It deletes distractions. It filters your yes. It activates a version of you that doesn't just survive the day, but designs it. The successful don't manage time. They multiply it. They create leverage. They don't wake up reacting. They wake up with ritual, not from a place of rigidity, but from reverence. Because they understand that every block of time is an altar. And what you sacrifice on that altar determines what you experience in your life. Want peace? Then schedule it. Want freedom? Then earn it through structure. Want success? Then build days that make it inevitable. Start by killing the myth of multitasking. You are not meant to divide your genius across 5 apps, 3 conversations, and 10 browser tabs. You are meant to go deep, to focus with intensity, to move with clarity, to lock into one thing and extract every ounce of excellence out of it. Because depth creates mastery. And mastery is what creates speed in the long run. You want to stop wasting time? Then stop letting shallow tasks steal your peak energy. Stop giving your highest hours to your lowest value tasks. Protect your mornings. Defend your deep work like a warrior. Build a fortress around the first 2 hours of your day, because how you start is how you scale. And this isn't about being busy. Busy is a trap. Busy is a disguise. Busy feels productive, but it's usually just motion without direction. You don't need motion. You need movement with meaning, with map, with mission. That means every minute must serve the vision. Every task must earn its way onto your calendar. Every person must deserve your time or be denied it without apology. not from arrogance, but from alignment. Because when you know what matters, you stop giving time to what doesn't. Then let's keep going, because time doesn't slow down for those who hesitate. It only honors those who move with authority. You see, once you've taken back your mornings, once you've cut the noise, blocked the leeches, shut down the open loops, you still have to do one thing most people avoid their whole lives. Decide. Decide what matters most. Because not everything is equal. Not every task deserves the same energy. Not every opportunity is aligned with your purpose. Time management without clarity is just chaos with a planner. You must decide with ruthless clarity what moves the needle, what creates the most value, what builds the most momentum, what aligns the most with who you're becoming. And when you know that, your calendar becomes sacred ground. You don't fill your day with tasks. You design your day with targets, outcomes, non-negotiables, battles worth winning. 3 to 5, no more. 3 to 5 moves per day that, if executed relentlessly, create more progress than 100 scattered motions. Because the person who tries to do everything ends up doing nothing that matters. But the one who focuses like a sniper builds legacies. So, structure your day like an empire. Morning for momentum, midday for mastery, evening for review and recalibration. You don't end the day by collapsing into your bed from exhaustion. You end it by closing the loop with excellence. What did I win today? What needs to shift tomorrow? What did I learn? And how will I use it? That simple review, that sacred 5 minutes of reflection, turns scattered effort into strategic momentum. And when you do that consistently, days become weeks. Weeks become empires. And time begins to submit to your structure. Because here's the secret. You don't manage time. You manage your energy inside of time. And when your energy is directed by discipline, when your focus is directed by clarity, when your decisions are directed by purpose, time becomes your servant, not your master. You don't run out of time. You run it. You command it. You use it with precision. And in doing so, you begin to create what most people only fantasize about. A life that reflects your vision, not your distractions. This is how you stop wasting time. You stop living on autopilot. You stop waiting to feel inspired. You stop responding to life like a slave to circumstance. You wake up and you lead your day like it was designed for kings. Then let the final words strike deep, because this is the moment you stop running from your power and start walking in it. Understand this. You are not here to manage time. You are here to master it, to mold it, to lead it like a general leads an army with intention, with strategy, with unbreakable clarity. The reason most people stay broke isn't lack of money. It's lack of focus. The reason most people stay tired isn't lack of energy. It's lack of direction. And the reason most people die with regret isn't lack of talent. It's because they let their time be eaten alive by things that didn't matter. But not you. Not anymore. Because now you see time for what it really is. Not hours. Access. Not minutes. Moments of transformation. Not a clock ticking down, but opportunity disguised as ordinary. You were given a life not to spend it counting time, but to make your time count. So stop saying, I'm busy. Start saying, I'm building. Stop saying, I don't have time. Start saying, I don't make time for things that don't build my legacy. You are not a manager of time. You are a leader of your destiny. And the way you schedule your day is the way you shape your future. From now on, your calendar is a declaration. Your habits are your vote. Your daily rhythm is your resume. And every moment, every single breath is either wasted in distraction or invested in greatness. So no more drifting, no more reacting, No more waiting for the world to give you permission. Wake up early. Set the tone. Move with intensity. Build in silence. Protect your focus like gold. Design your life like an architect of destiny. Because time is not your enemy. Time is not your excuse. Time is not your weakness. Time is your test. And from this moment forward, you don't live by the clock. You live by calling. Let the world watch. Let the hours pass. Let the noise try to distract you. But you rise. You own every moment. And you make time bow to you. Wealth, real wealth, is not found in the bank account. It's not parked in the driveway or hanging in the closet. It's built in the mind long before it's manifested in the world. But here's the truth they never told you. You don't just get rich. You become rich. And not by accident. You build it brick by brick with sweat, obsession, and relentless alignment. The world will tell you to work hard. But hard work alone is not enough. Ants work hard. Machines work hard. Hard work without direction is just exhaustion dressed in ambition's clothes. You want wealth? Then you have to decide. Not wish. Not hope. Decide to live a life that defies average. Because everything changes the day you stop asking, how can I make more money? Rohn. And start asking, what kind of person must I become to attract the life I crave? It starts in the mind. Your mindset is the seed of your wealth. Plant poverty, and you'll harvest just enough to survive. Plant power, and you'll reap beyond generations. So what do you believe about money? About work? About yourself? Because no strategy in the world will save you if deep down you believe you're not worthy of abundance. You have to reprogram the story. Wealth is not evil. Desire is not greed. And wanting more is not selfish. It's sacred. Because when good people get rich, they don't buy bigger problems. They build bigger solutions. But you'll never attract wealth with a poverty mindset. You'll never step into freedom if your soul still clings to limitation. And you'll never earn what your identity cannot handle. So if you want to motivate yourself to work hard, don't just chase income, chase inner calibration. Wake up every day and ask, what version of me must show up today to build the future I said I wanted yesterday? That question alone is worth millions. Because motivation doesn't come from quotes. It comes from clarity. If your vision is vague, your drive will drown. But if your vision is crystal, if it lives in your bones, if you've tasted the freedom, the impact, the legacy, then work doesn't feel like work anymore. It feels like worship. You stop grinding and you start building. You stop pushing and you start aligning. You stop needing a reason because you are the reason. But let's be clear. Wealth is not owed to you. It doesn't respond to intentions. It responds to intensity. It demands sacrifice. You will have to let go of what is easy. You will have to walk away from people who love your comfort but fear your growth. You will have to kill distractions like your life depends on it, because it does. Every day, you are either investing in your future or robbing it. There is no neutral. There is no pause. Time doesn't wait, and neither does success. So what are you choosing? Comfort or conviction? Distraction or direction? Pleasure or purpose? You think you need motivation. You don't. You need a reason, a fire, a vision that makes your excuses beg for mercy. You want wealth? Here's the truth. You must earn the right to handle it. Not by waiting, but by working intentionally, intensely, and relentlessly. And the moment you make that shift, the world starts to respond. Opportunities bend in your direction. Doors appear where there were only walls. And money becomes a servant to your vision, not the other way around. Because this is where it gets real, where desire meets demand, and your dreams are tested in the fire of daily choices. You want to be rich? Not just rich in money, but rich in freedom, rich in influence, rich in life. Then understand this. You must become a different breed. Most people want more, but they're still thinking like the poor, still moving like the comfortable, still living like they have forever. But wealth doesn't come to the wishful. It comes to the warrior, the one who wakes up and declares, I don't work to survive, I work to dominate. Because domination is not about greed. It's about mastery. Mastery over your time. Mastery over your emotion. Mastery over your direction. Every day, ask yourself, am I working to escape my current life or to build the one I can't wait to wake up in? Because if your fuel is just fear, stress, or obligation, you will burn out. But if your fuel is vision, if it's that sacred picture of your family never having to worry again, of your days being yours, of your name being whispered in rooms you've never entered, then you'll move with fire. You'll go beyond tired. You'll push past fear. You'll build when everyone else is binging, because you know something they don't. You are not just working for money. You are working to become a magnet, a force, a standard. You are working to earn the future. And that means you show up even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it, because feelings are liars. They want safety. They want comfort. They want applause. But wealth doesn't show up in applause. It shows up in alignment. It shows up when you stop being casual with your potential. Think about it. What would happen if you lived for the next 90 days like your financial breakthrough depended on today? No waiting, no whining, just war. You'd wake up with precision. You'd cut the distractions. You'd train like a soldier. You'd sell like a leader. You'd build like you were chosen, because you are. This path, it doesn't require you to be perfect. It requires you to be obsessed. Obsessed with becoming better. Obsessed with stretching further. Obsessed with doing the things nobody sees. So one day, you can live in a way nobody believes. So stop negotiating with laziness. Stop flirting with mediocrity. Stop acting like you have time. You are in the middle of the window right now. The sacred window. The one between who you are and who you could be. And it's closing. Slowly. Every minute. Every hour. Every excuse. So rise. Rise into the man or woman who doesn't need motivation, because they are led by mission. And when you are mission-led, you don't just attract wealth. You become it. Then lock in, because we're only just approaching the depth where destiny lives. This isn't just about making money. This is about making yourself, the kind of self that commands a life others only dream about. Because wealth isn't chasing you. It's hiding behind the discipline you've been avoiding. It's behind the early mornings you keep snoozing, the deep work you keep delaying, the bold decisions you keep shrinking away from. You want to be wealthy? Then you have to learn how to confront yourself, not occasionally, daily. Look yourself in the mirror and ask, did I work today like someone who expects millions? Did I create, lead, and move like someone who refuses to be average? Or did I coast? Did I comply? Did I let life lead me instead of leading it? Wealth doesn't respond to busyness. It responds to boldness. And boldness lives where most people never dare to go, right through the middle of fear. That's why wealth building is not for the weak. It's for the focused, the obsessed, the rare few who know that pressure is not a problem, it's a platform. Every challenge is training. Every failure is refinement. Every delay is designed to deepen your fire. Because wealth isn't something you earn just with hours. You earn it with identity. You become someone who must be rewarded. Because your value is so high, your standards are so locked in, and your vision is so alive that the world can't help but respond. This is why average people will never understand you. They'll say, "Why are you working so hard?" They'll say, "You should slow down. Take it easy." They don't see what you see. They don't feel what you feel. They don't need what you need. You're not building this for a car, not for applause. You're building this for freedom, for impact, for the peace that comes when you own your time, when you walk into rooms and don't have to ask anyone for anything. That's the fire. That's the why. Not just to get rich, but to never feel powerless again. Because when you master your work ethic, when you turn effort into identity, when you out-discipline your doubt, you stop chasing success, and success starts chasing you. So, how do you motivate yourself to work hard toward wealth? You don't wait to feel inspired. You decide that your future is non-negotiable, and then you work like your freedom is on the line, because it is. You work like a man possessed. You move like a woman on fire. You build like a soul who's tired of scarcity, tired of pretending, tired of being something less than what they were born to be. You don't need hype. You need conviction. You don't need perfect conditions. You need a perfect decision. And that decision is made in this moment. To stop playing small, to stop waiting, to stop hoping, and to build the version of you that earns everything you once begged for. Then let's keep going, because you weren't made for halfway. You weren't made for mediocrity, for comfort, for someday. You were made to rise, to create wealth, not just with your hands, but with your character. Because real wealth isn't in what you own, it's in who you are when no one's looking. It's in your habits. It's in your hunger. It's in your standards. And most people, they don't lack talent. They don't lack time. They lack standards. They accept average work. They accept average effort. They accept average results. But not you. You're not here to make a living. You're here to make a mark. And that means one thing. Every day is a test of will, a test of focus, a test of whether you're willing to outgrow your old self. Because wealth doesn't come to the version of you that wants it. It comes to the version of you that's worthy of it. And worthiness isn't inherited, it's earned. So stop trying to get rich on a mindset built for survival. Stop trying to succeed with routines built for escape. Stop trying to build a legacy on the schedule of someone who's still just trying. This is not about trying. It's about becoming, and becoming is painful. It requires the death of who you've been. The death of old habits, old excuses, old stories that say, "I'm not ready. I'm not smart enough. I'm not like them." Yes, you are. You're exactly like them if you're willing to pay the price. Not with luck, not with shortcuts, with execution. Get up early. Stay up late. Block out noise. Read what others ignore. Invest in what others fear. Work when others sleep. Study when others scroll. Act when others wait. Not because it's easy, but because it's required. This is the cost of freedom, the cost of owning your life, the cost of building wealth that doesn't just bless you, but generations after you. And let this be the line in the sand. From this moment forward, you don't work for money. You work for mission. You work for mastery. You work to become so damn valuable that money chases you. You don't need luck. You don't need pity. You don't even need motivation. You just need a reason that's bigger than your excuses. And if you've got that, if your why is sacred, then your how becomes relentless. Because when you work hard toward wealth with clarity, with hunger, with honor, there is no force on earth that can stop you. Then stand still for a moment, not to pause, but to lock in. Because what I'm about to say isn't just the end of a speech. It's the beginning of a revolution inside you. If you want wealth, true wealth, you have to stop asking for it and start earning it. Not by working harder than everyone else, but by becoming the one who never stops, You become the standard, the example, the quiet storm that builds in silence and arrives in force. You wake up each morning and whisper, I don't need it easy. I just need it mine. You wipe the doubt from your face and lace up the mindset of a millionaire in motion. Because wealth is not a reward for the gifted. It's the inevitable result of alignment between who you are and who you refuse to die without becoming. The late nights are yours. The early mornings yours. The discipline, the discomfort, the daily choices, no one sees yours. And because of that, so is the freedom. So is the power. So is the legacy. You are not tired. You are tapping in. You are not stuck. You are loading greatness. You are not lost. You are building the map one decision at a time. So no more waiting, no more wishing, no more craving a life that can only be created. Create it. Wake up and move like the person you're here to be. Speak like it. Think like it. Work like it. Walk like your name belongs on buildings. Speak like your blood carries royalty. Act like your family's freedom depends on what you do today. Because it does. You are not chasing wealth anymore. You are becoming wealth. So build every day, every hour, every rep, every breath. Build like the world has no idea what's coming. Because it doesn't. But you do. You know exactly who you are. And from this moment forward, the world will know it too.